This is the Investor Connect podcast program. I'm Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of this show in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, family offices, private equity, and many other investors for early stage and growth companies. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today we're here with Willie James Mandrell, owner and broker at the Mandrell Company. Mandrell Company is a residential and commercial real estate brokerage firm that prides itself on its knowledgeable agents, friendly personal service, up-to-the-minute knowledge of the latest market data. They specialize in multifamily homes ranging from 2 to 100 plus units, as well as single-unit investment real estate. The Mandrell family has been investing and managing real estate in the Boston area since the 1950s and has a proven track record of success. Willie, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Hall, I appreciate you having me on.
Great. So what was your background before you started investing in real estate? What did you do before this?
Before real estate, I was in corporate America. I was in the securities industry. So I had my Series 7, my Series 24. For those people who are not probably familiar with those licenses, they allow you to trade stocks. They allow you to be a stockbroker and advise clients on financial services. I also had my life insurance license, my health insurance license, and I was venturing into auto and home as well. But I didn't do sales when I was in corporate. I was in compliance. So it was my job to oversee the brokers that we had with our agency, right? So they would go out and they would make investment advice to people. And it was my job to make sure that the investment advice that they were giving was suitable to the client's needs. So I was the guy that walked into the office and didn't get too many warm welcomes as I was going into there because I knew I was picking through their books as I was traveling around the country.
Great. Well, so what excites you right now?
Real estate. I love the development side. I'm in real estate full time right now. Basically, what I do, my day to day is basically just ripping properties apart and putting them back together. It's the most fun I've ever had. And then also making money at the same time. It's an incredible business. So I go around Boston. I look for dilapidated properties that are just, the windows are broken, the roof is leaking, the heating systems don't work, the electrical's outdated, there's lead paint everywhere. I pull these properties apart and spend some time putting them back together and then renting them out and holding on to them for the long term.
So what's your advice for people who want to start investing in real estate? What do you tell them to do before they jump into it?
I'd say number one, real estate's actually a very simple business. People think it's more complex than it is. You have income coming in, it's rental income. You have expenses going out, your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance. And as long as your income exceeds your expenses, you're doing pretty well. People that want to get into the business, I would say, I think the main hurdle for most people today is, it's my belief that we live in an instant gratification society. We live in a society where everybody wants everything tomorrow or next week, or they're just not willing to wait for it. And that's just not the way real estate works. You have to be patient. You have to have a long-term vision. And that's really what it is. I think, and I don't think I'm special anyway, but I think I'm unique in the sense that I'm a relatively young guy with that can see out 5 years, that can see out 10 years, that wants to go into neighborhoods where 10 years ago, neighborhoods that I was going into when people told me they were war zones, those same investors are now trying to ask me about opportunities within those neighborhoods. I just saw around the curve just a little bit and saw where things are going. Real estate's it's all the same. It's like once Starbucks comes into your neighborhood, once Whole Foods hits your neighborhood, it's already gone, right? There's no real investment opportunity there, in my opinion, right? You want to get there before those specialized companies, those upscale companies start to come into the neighborhoods, and that's what I was looking for. I was looking, neighborhoods in Boston where you can see development start to take place. On the outskirts, it's dropping a pebble in the pond. I was trying to get out to that second or third ripple before it took place. And that's all I've done for the last 10 years. And that's what I'll do for the next 10.
Well, great. So we're coming out of the COVID pandemic and it's a different world. How do you see the real estate industry evolving from here?
I think if you're looking to get in, there's going to be a lot of opportunities over the next couple of years. I mentioned that in a couple of videos on my YouTube channel. But yeah, I think over the next 2021, 2022, there's going to be a lot of opportunity in real estate. And I'll tell you why. If you study economics or if you know anything about economics, then you know that the economy is being artificially propped up right now. We have PPP money inserted. You have massive unemployment throughout, state level. You have stimulus checks at the federal level. You have Sallie Mae student loans being deferred. You have mortgages being in forbearance right now. You have eviction moratoriums going on. All of those things are pulling away from the natural flow of the economy. And right now, the federal government is trying to, and the state, local governments are trying to prop us up and trying to keep us from going into a market crash. They're trying to keep us from 2008 to 2009. And I don't, whether you disagree or you agree, that's all political. That's not. But the point is, those things are there. The PPP money is there. The forbearances are there. The unemployment, friends of mine that have been extended on their unemployment several times now. It went out 10 weeks and then it was another 10 weeks. And it was another 10. Well, eventually those things have to go away, right? Unemployment is eventually going to have to go away. Stimulus checks are going away. They can't even get the last one through. Forbearances are going away. There's only so long people are going to have to start paying those student loans again. And when all that stuff, all those bills come due, we're going to really see where we are. And I think that, in my opinion, whether you try to tell the truth, I don't want to, sugarcoat anything. There's going to be a lot of people hurting. There's going to be a lot of businesses hurting. And with that hurt becomes opportunity for people who keep their eyes open. Some people are going to run and get scared and hunker down and think they just need to shelter in. But there are other people who are a little bit more savvy, are going to keep their eyes open and say, well, there may be some people hurting, but there's also, it's called a wealth transfer. There's going to be also opportunity to go out there and buy real estate at a discount. There are going to be some people that say, I've been under forbearance right now for the last 13 months. That forbearance is now coming due. And now what they didn't tell me, or what I didn't notice in my paperwork, is that all the interest was in forbearance, but I still had an escrow payment. I still had principal and all this other things to do. And now they're asking me for $10,000. I don't have that $10,000. The easiest thing for me to do is to get out of this home really quickly. And there's going to be opportunity for people. If you're a residential person, you're just looking for a new home, there's going to be inventory that hits the market, in my opinion. If you're an investor and you're looking for other multifamily opportunities, there's going to be inventory that hits the market pretty soon as well.
Over the next 5 years, what do you think is the biggest change we're going to see in real estate?
Office and small retail. I think office is going to go away. I mean, unless you have I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, even the massive call centers, I just don't know that you really need them. I think COVID has taught us one thing, is that we just really don't need a lot of space that we thought that we needed. I don't know if this is true. I deleted it really quickly because I had already taken it. But I thought that I got an email the other day. In my email, it was for my eye doctor. And it was a link that I was going to click on that would actually take me to their website where I can take an eye exam right online through my webcam. And if that's the case, if that was true, and again, I think I saw that. And that's the way I read the email, but I just didn't need to do it at the time. And if that's the case, every business is starting to reevaluate their need for space. And I think that if you're in commercial, if you're heavy in the small retail shop, the mom and pop, I sell sneakers, or I sell clothing out of this small retail shop, all that stuff has been reevaluated over the last 13 months. And people are starting to realize, I didn't need that spot. I had a small office. I was paying $2,500 a month for my office here in Boston. I fortunately did it before COVID because I started to realize it just wasn't necessary. And then COVID hit and I kind of looked like I had some type of foresight, but I was just more or less just the reevaluation of office space. If you're in that business and then you're in small retail, I think you're going to be hurting for a while. And I think there may be some opportunity to repurpose those office buildings or those office spaces into other uses. They may become apartments. They may become something else. So I think that's going to be the biggest sector or biggest part of real estate that's going to be hit the hardest and affected long-term over the next 5 years.
Let's talk more about your investment thesis for real estate. You talked about finding the buildings with broken windows, but what's the numbers side of that? What are you looking for as far as prices, square foot, rates, et cetera, that says this is a good deal versus it's not a good deal?
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to knowing your market. I'm a big proponent of, there are a lot of investors that bounce from neighborhood to neighborhood. Here within Boston, I say I'm a Boston investor, but even within Boston, I think we have, I can't remember the number exactly, but I think it's probably 20 different neighborhoods within Boston, right? Boston, the Metro Boston is divided into about 20 different neighborhoods. I only operate in about 3 of those neighborhoods. I know my inventory really well. I really don't buy single families or duplexes. I only buy 3s and 4s. So I mean, within those 3 tight neighborhoods, I also have a very tight criteria. And if you do that, again, everybody's numbers are going to be different, but I can tell you here, I just know my market really well. What I'm looking for personally is a 3-family ideal situation. 3-family, I'm buying at $650,000. It needs everything. I'm probably putting in, let's call it $200,000 into it. That's new electrical, that's new roof, that's new windows, that's new flooring, kitchens, bathrooms. tile, a new paint job. So I'm into it for about $850,000. I probably have another $50,000 in holding costs and financing costs and water, taxes, insurance, financing costs, and everything into it. So I'm probably into it for, what did I say, 650, 200 is 850, 900 is probably worth at the end of the day 1 to 1.1 at the end of the day. So I'm probably creating $150 to $200,000 in equity right off the start, and it'll probably cash flow. Rents here in Boston, I'm not sure where the rest of the country, I know New York is another, and Los Angeles are pretty high. A 3-bedroom apartment, even on Section 8, is going to run you close to $3,000. So that 3-family spit off about $9,000 in income, and it'll probably have mortgage, taxes, insurance, water bills, and everything of about $6,000. And I'll probably put sort of let's say about $3,000 in my pocket. So 9 income, 6 going out, and about $3,000 in your pocket every month.
Sounds great. So what are the challenges in investing in real estate? What do you tell people is what to look out for?
The challenges, it depends on where you are. I mean, the challenges in real estate in Boston is almost what I just described. It's the high barrier to entry. Not everybody, the numbers that I just described are probably super intimidating for some people. Especially if you're just getting into real estate, do I really want to be into a property for $900,000, nearly $1 million? Especially if you don't know the neighborhood. I've been here for 15 years. I've been here all my life, but I've been in investing for 15 years since 2006. So those numbers are a little bit more comfortable for me, and I know where the market is trending. I think the biggest challenges for most people is niching up, is choosing a neighborhood, choosing an environment, and deciding this is where I want to be. It's like, I think that's the challenge for most business owners is I'm a true believer in becoming a specialist. And most business owners, that's scary. Most entrepreneurs, that is scary. I don't want to miss any business. Most entrepreneurs go into a business and they try to be a generalist. They try to service everyone and everything and try to be all things to all people. And I think at the end of the day, you kill your business by doing that. I think what you have to do if you really want to survive is really niche up, choose what you want to do, whether it be real estate or entrepreneur, really decide, narrow your focus and really understand that niche well. And I just had ACL replacement surgery, or an ACL surgery, just replacing my ACL. I have a general MD, or my primary care doctor, and then I have a specialist, a lower extremity specialist, because there's also a hand doctor in the same orthopedic shop, right? I didn't get my surgery done by my general MD. I got it done by the specialist. And though I don't know each of their salaries, I can bank that specialist probably makes a lot more money than the general MD or my primary care doctor. And I think that's what you need to do as an entrepreneur. That's what you need to do as a real estate agent or a real estate investor, what should I say, is really niche up, specialize, really understand your focus. And when you do that, you're going to be successful.
Great. Well, if you had to pick 1 or 2 sectors today to pursue in the real estate world, what would you put at the top of the list to advise investors to pursue?
I'm always going to say residential real estate. At the end of the day, there's no tech solution for us that I see coming down the pipeline for us having a roof over our head, right? If you say office, you can get rid of office. You can work from home. I can probably make a 6-figure salary right from the seat that I'm sitting in right now, having this conversation with you. Retail is issues with it. Larger commercial, industrial, there are issues with it. But at the end of the day, I personally do not see Elon Musk coming up with a solution, a tech solution for us needing a roof over our head. We still need bathrooms, you still need a place to sleep, you still need a place to shower and a place to feed your family. So I'm always going to, and the other thing, supply and demand. Populations are getting bigger, not smaller. There's only so much land left. If you own some of it, you have a significant amount of power and control. So real estate, definitely residential real estate.
Great. Well, in the last few minutes that we have here, what else should we cover that we haven't?
I think real estate is something that everyone should have as in their portfolio. I don't really care what you do. If you're an entrepreneur, great. If you're in startups, great. If you're doing really well in the stock market, that's great. I think at the end of the day, need to diversify what you're doing. I'm also a big real estate guy, and I still invest in the stock market. I still try to do peer-to-peer lending because at the end of the day, I think that diversification is key. If you want to be successful, you should definitely niche up and have your specialty. But I think you should also try to stick your toe in other industries, other neighborhoods. And I don't think that you should try, you don't necessarily need to be a landlord, but owning a couple multifamilies that are managed by somebody else, putting your money into a syndication or projects that are run by other developers are good opportunities for you to diversify away from what you're doing and just kind of shore up your financial foundation.
Great. Well, how best for listeners to get back in touch with you?
I'm on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. My website is mandrellco.com. I offer a free coaching call. If you go there /coaching, there's a free coaching call. But I would say my primary focus right now is building up that YouTube channel. One of my goals is really to come out and, have a lot of content about real estate, about investing, about personal finance. And it's youtube.com/WMandrell, WMANDRELL. You can reach me there, and a ton of stuff coming out, ton of stuff already on that channel as well to benefit anybody looking to explore the real estate investing business.
Great. I want to thank you for joining us today and hope to have you back for a follow-up soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org.
Paul T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for the basis of investment decisions.